brothers and sisters, before I begin again, I've made this request for the past couple of nights. The crowd keeps on getting bigger and bigger, inshallah. In future years it will be even bigger. So what you need at this point in time in the development of a community, and always there comes a point in time is in the development of a community in the United States, religious community, where they need their own center, where they need their own church or temple or masjid. You need your own masjid here today, dear brothers and sisters. Dear brothers and sisters, it is very important that you sign up and become the membership for the masjid, so that the masjid we can grow even more and finish the project that is the new masjid that they are building. So open up your wallets, open up your hearts, open up and give. When you give in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is not just you giving in the way of God. God does not need your giving. Everything that you give in the way of God, you get back. How many of you have had majalis or sponsored a majalis for Imam Hussein? Or part to be tabarruk or niyaz, or you just donated. And then you realize that blessing recycled itself 100-fold in your life. So open your hearts, open your wallets, inshallah. Let's get this project done, inshallah. By next year we should be in the new masjid, inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبو القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. وصلى اللهم على آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين. قال الله العزيز في محكم كتابه الكريم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صلوات على محمد. Final stretch. Last night until the day of Ashura. And as I was getting on this minbar, it came to me that the beginning of the surah is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wal Asr. One of the definitions that our brethren give of this Asr is the time of Salat al-Asr. So they say wal Asr, by the time of Salat al-Asr, and it was the last prayer of Abu Abdullah Hussein Salat al-Asr, where on the day of Ashura he prayed Salat al-Khawf, a shortened prayer. Dear brothers and sisters, tomorrow is the deciding point. Tomorrow is the day, like the brother said, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq says, La yawmuka yawmuka ya Aba Abdullah. There is no day like your day of Hussein. The suffering, the tragedy, the lessons that you can learn are unequivocal, and there's no time, there's no place like Karbala. If you have not gone to Karbala, you see the pictures. And if you have gone for Muharram or for Al-Ba'in, you see how many people express their love for their Mawla Abu Abdullah al-Hussein sallallahu wa sallam alayhi. Last year, and some of the brothers are going for the Arba'in again, inshallah. Last year I had the privilege of performing my first mishi of Arba'in. And it was right after COVID, so the numbers were even more. Last year were record-breaking numbers. 20 to 25 million people in Karbala from the 10th of Safa to Arba'in. 20 to 25 million people walking from Najaf, Basra, Baghdad, all the way to Karbala, walking from their homes to Karbala. Within 25 million people, how many times you have it that one of the khuddam of the mawakib, they stop you and say, "Oh, Zaid of Hussein, take this from us. Let us feed you. Let us give you something to drink. Let us give you time to rest. Let us give you massage. Let us give you. The world's largest soup kitchen is in Arba'in of Imam Hussein. It's completely free. And in religion, whenever we have centralized religion by the form of a government, what happens is that the party decays and it goes into separate ways. Catholicism, Princess Salawat. Catholicism broke away into Protestantism, and Protestantism broke away to Anglicanism, Calvin, Luther, and everything. In our Muslim tradition, our brethren had the support of almost every governor or government throughout the majority of the Muslim history. Yet, the majority of the sects that exist in Islam are from the Sunnah, they're not from the Shia. In the school of Ahlul Bayt, the majority of the time we had there was no government influence on the religion. Yet this religion became so unified that in one place and time, and I know this Eid we had a problem, you could have 20 maraja giving 20 fatwa, but there is a unity present. And there's a simple solution to the problem of Eid. Listen. For example, I do taqleed of Sayyid Sistani, you do taqleed of Sayyid Khamenei, you do taqleed of Sheikh Hafiz Bashir, you do taqleed of Sheikh Wahid Khurasani, you do taqleed of Sheikh Ishaq Fayaz. What is the problem with this Eid? The whole situation is to make the hujjah of Allah apparent to you. And the Maraj, especially Sayyid Sistani, he says, if you do not know the fatwa of your mujtahid on an issue or your marja', you have to go to the next in line. Therefore, if I do taqleed of Sayyid Sistani and Sayyid Khamenei in Iran, he said, Eid is today, I don't have to go look to see the fatwa of Sayyid Sistani. The fatwa of the mujtahid that you heard the fatwa of is common for you. Make sense? Look, the knowledge of the maraji' is, and this is getting to a point that I want to make, like I said, you have 20 maraji', 20 fatwa, but there's an intense unity within the marja'iyah. The whole problem with this Eid and not Eid, and your marja' says this is halal, your marja' says this is haram, we have infighting now, unfortunately, because of this. The purpose of ijtihad and marja'iyah, especially doing as the usulis, the most of the usuli mujtahid and maraji' say, the most a'la marja' is that we get to the centralized body of knowledge of the educational elite, and that body of knowledge trickles down into every follower. But the problem is not maraji', na'udhu billah, it's us. Look, the one mujtahid, one marja' al-taqleed, their whole knowledge is like, and I've said this previously as well, their whole knowledge is like the 7 oceans of the world. And my knowledge is like this bottle here of all the water. If I try to put all the water of the 7 oceans of the world into this bottle, will I do it? Yeah, we try to make al-Majja knowledge this small, so it fits our understanding, and we say that al-Majja is just like us in knowledge. He is, of course, he is a human being. But you can say for some of al-Maraja at least, that they have not done sin in their life, especially in their later life, they have not sinned or done sin. The reason why I give this statement is that there is the concept of Ismat Kubra in Tashayyu, which is the born infallibility of the Ma'asumeen and the Prophets and the Ahlul Bayt. And then there is Ismat al-Sughra, whereby when you are not born, of course every child is born Ma'asum, but when you are not born at the level of Ismat al-Kubra, by association with the Ma'asum, you get this level. Now let's say association with the Ma'asum. Problem. In Zaman al-Ghaiba. How do we know a person has association with the Ma'asum? There's a story that goes about Sayyid Radhi and Sayyid Murtada. Sharif Radhi and Sharif Murtada. Sharif Radhi, the compiler of Nahj al-Balagha, and his brother. Their father died, and they were distributing the wealth amongst the sons. All that was left was one book. Sayyid Radhi wanted the book, so he said the one who never did a sin should get the book. And the brother said the one who never thought of the sin should get the book. So the brother took the book. This is Ismat al-Sughra, where even at the level of thought, you don't violate this idea. And of course, when we look at modern times, I mentioned the example of Sayyid al-Sistani hafadallah. There's the example of Imam Khomeini alayhi salam, and Hassan Zadeh, Jawadi Amali. These are big maraja in our time, where if you really want to say it, Sheikh Jawadi Amali is Sheikh Baha'i of our time. He has the full capacity with his theological bend in the religious knowledge. His foundation is the Isra Foundation, ESRA, if you want to look it up online. And they have this idea of the foundation for the preservation and the expansion of the ulum naqli of Ahlul Bayt. But Irfan, some people might think, is in showing your karamat. Irfan is not in showing your karamat, it's in hiding yourself. Whereby, especially when it comes to showing off, or the takabbur that starts with showing off, that is why ulama and ulafa have hid themselves so well. Why is it that we don't have many stories of Sayyid Sistani? Not that the stories didn't happen, he doesn't want people to know of them. Sheikh Jawadi, written his Tafsir Tasneem, I believe it is complete. I've been told by some sources it's been complete. Not all of it has been published yet, but I've heard, or it's near completion. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Yet you can say openly that he has not even shown 5% of his karamat. Not even that. Sayyid al-Iqali has not even shown 1% of his karamat. There is a story that goes that Sayyid al-Qadi, rahimahullah, in his time, people used to not respect the Urafa as much as they do today. Meaning, Irfan was a subject that was not necessarily taught in the Hawza at that time, or was not looked up upon at that time. Brothers, sisters, say we are brothers. If you could move up a little bit, inshallah, with Allah salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, and move this way. Move to my left, your right, as much as you can, inshallah. Inshallah, there are more people that are coming. So we need as much, like I said, you need a new center. This is the proof. Inshallah, you will get it. So now, one of his students, Ayatollah Bahjat. Another one of his students, Imam al-Khou'i. Another one of his students, Hassan Zadi Amali. Another one of his students, Javadi Amali. The story goes, Ayatollah Bahjat, he was attending the dars of Sayyid al-Qadi. Someone asked him, when you moved to Najaf, when did you start attending the dars of Sayyid al-Qadi? He says, within 3 days I was in his dars. Ayatollah Bahjat, the marja, the arif, who they say he could see behind as well as forward. Hassan Zadeh, the one who used to teach Marhum al-Istifsal and Tahdib al-Ahkam and the books of Shaykh al-Tursi in the Hawza, student of Sayyid al-Qadi. This Sayyid al-Qadi says that Imam Khomeini is in a position of irfan that is higher than him. My teachers had differences with the current leaders of the Muslim world, but not just in Iran, but in Iraq and Lebanon as well. But he would say, Mahmoud Ayyub, Mahmoud Ayyub, that the position in this philosophy of Imam Khomeini is the position of Waliul Amr al-Muslimin Jahan. And if Imam Khomeini did not himself think himself to be on the position of Walayat Amr, he would never have accepted the position of the Supreme Leader. Meaning he understood that he was at that level. Now we need to understand that the whole purpose of Muharram, the whole purpose of Ashura is to bring the 8 billion people in this world into the Masjid of Imam Hussein. One of the famous scholars, he says, in Pakistan, Allama Shah Hussain Naqvi, he says that the one who deserted Imam Hussein, Muslim Yaqeen, were from the tent of Imam Hussein, meaning that there are still 2 tents, the tent of Yazid and Imam Hussein, and they are still fighting. I don't say that. I say that the 8 billion people of the world today are thirsty for the love and knowledge of Imam Hussein. And everybody, 8 billion people born in this world, Ma'soom, are born Husseini. All they need to do is to learn the lesson of love of Abu Abdullah Hussein. All they need to do is to learn the love lesson. Listen, the American people are, if you study politics and religion and Western religion, there is a statement that they make that the American people are the most religious of the Western nations. Meaning they don't believe in the connection between religion and state, but in terms of private religion, they believe in private religion. And they believe that their God is a private God, is a personal God. All we need to do is explain the story of Imam Hussein in a way they understand it. Look, we talk about Jesus, they talk about Jesus. Nabi Isa is Masih in the Bible, he is also Masih in the Quran. The Quran calls him Messiah. And there is a correlation between the Christian narrative of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and the Ashura narrative and the Maqtal of Imam Hussein. Different correlations. Isa and John the Baptist as well, Nabi Yahya and Nabi Isa. Jesus dies on the cross for the sin of his followers. Imam Hussein is killed, his head is chopped off and put on a lance, so that out of the 8 billion people, or all the people that have existed in the world or existed and will exist in the future, all from amongst them who want to be redeemed can go through Imam Hussein. Which idea is bigger or wider in this sense, I ask you to, let's go further. Jesus dies for his followers. Imam Hussein dies for anybody in humanity who wants to be redeemed. Which is the bigger or more encompassing message? Just the followers or everybody? Everybody. That makes sense, right? Now look, John the Baptist in our tradition, when John the Baptist in Christianity, there was a sect amongst Judaism. By the way, Jesus was not a Christian. There was no Christianity during the time of Jesus. The modern day Western Christianity came about 200 years after Jesus, whereby Paul did away with the Sharia of Nabi Musa, and he said that the Sharia was outdated and not needed anymore because Jesus came to perfect the religion of love. But they say the early church fathers, especially in the Church of Jerusalem, were following the Sharia of Musa, and they were against Paul in this. That's a side story. But John the Baptist was, according to them, a follower of, a descendant of the Ishmaelite prophets, the Israelite prophets, and he belonged to for what they call a sect called the Nazarenes. Nasara, Nazarenes. Correlation here as well. And they believed in extreme asceticism, and especially the power of what we call the ghusl, or the baptism, as they say it, where he would baptize every follower of his in the river or the body of water. And according to them, he baptized Nabi Isa as well. When he goes to the palace of the tyrant in this Sham in Syria, the palace of the governor chops off his head. What happened to Imam Hussein? The ruling authorities chopped off the head of Imam Hussein. Another similarity. Of course, tonight is the night of Ashura. And we need to bring our Christian, our Jewish, our Sunni brothers into these majalis of Imam Hussein. Expand our horizons to bring every American to love Imam Hussein. Because this love, this compassion, this majesty, this haiba, this shuja is not found anywhere else. And finally, when we talk about the end days, there is another correlation. There is the concept of Nabi Isa coming back in Christianity, and in Islam we say, in Tashayyu especially, we say Nabi Isa will come back and the Mahdi will come back. And when there's a beautiful parable here that can be used as a diagram or a crucible or a framework for interreligious dialogue, where the Mahdi goes to Nabi Isa and he says, you are the Prophet of God. Let's pray behind you. And Jesus says, no, right now you are my Imam, you are higher than me, I want to pray behind you. Meaning, Jesus and the Mahdi working together to support and promote the mission and the vision of the one God together for all of humanity. So if Jesus and the Mahdi are working together, why cannot the Christian and the Muslim work together? Why not? Why not? Look, we had a small outside gathering for the Quran, and I said this and I do believe in this, that if you desecrate and disrespect any one of the holy books of any religion, it is a desecration and disrespect of all religions. It's hard to explain for a Christian who says that a non-Christian or even a Christian can disrespect, can perform acts of disrespect, can defecate and urinate on the Bible, but I still respect the Bible. That doesn't make sense to us. Let's be honest. And that is what we have to get across. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al Imran, what does He say? Alif Lam Mim نزل عليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديك وأنزل التوراة والإنجيل. We revealed to you a revelation containing the truth, and it testifies to that which was revealed before you, and we have revealed the Torah and the Injil. If you are Christian, if you are Jewish, the book is telling you that Allah has revealed, meaning that the Torah of Musa and the Injil of Isa are holy books. Why would you want to burn a book that says your books are holy books? Why? The problem is not that. We have to explain, dear brothers and sisters. And living in this society, the most open society, whereby, you know, in Pakistan, if you pray with a turba in front of you, someone might snatch the turba. My one friend in Haider, he is Pashtun. His family is Sunni. He became Shia. So he says, one time he was in Pakistan, and you know, they have this group of Wahhabi called SSP, Sipai Sahaba Pakistan, the helpers of the Sahaba in Pakistan. He was with one of these guys, and the guy tells him he's Pashtun, and he tells him he's Pashtun as well. So the guy assumes he's Sunni, or he's Wahhabi. And I don't, like I've said this before as well, to equate Wahhabism with Sunnism is to give Wahhabism victory over a definition that they want. Wahhabism is not Sunnism. Wahhabism is Kharijism. Sunnism and Shiism respect the Ahlul Bayt, respect the Prophet, respect the Quran, and they form the 99% of the Muslims that have existed, are existing, and will exist in the future. This 1%, he was talking to this 1% guy, and finally time for prayer came. So he says, okay, you're Pashtun, I'm Pashtun, let's pray together. Okay. So my friend takes out his turba and he starts praying with his hands in his side. And this guy starts looking at him. This guy is a leading member of this group, and he says afterward, my friend, that he says to this guy, listen, just because you thought I was Pashtun, that you thought I would agree with you, know that I am a Shia of Ahlul Bayt, and I disagree with you. And the guy said to him that if I had known before that you were Shia, you would be dead by now. This is a Muslim country. The only thing, you can go to redneck Texas, you can go to any other place, you can go to Montana, California, red, liberal, white, gray, blue, everybody. The only thing they will do to you is they will look strangely at you. They won't attack you. They won't do anything like that to you. all you have to do is explain to them the true nature of your religion. Please recite it all. على حب فاطمة الزهراء صلوات محمد. Dear brothers and sisters, tonight is the night of Ashura, and we have in our traditions, this is the night of Tasu'a. This is the night, the last night of Walayal al-Ashr of Surah Al-Fajr. This is the night that Hussein ibn Ali gave to Hud. This is not just the night for the Hud of the 10th of Muharram in 60 AD. 61 AH, sorry. 60 AD would be after Jesus, sorry. This is not. This is the night for every Hud that wants to make his journey from the hell, which is the servitude to this materialistic world, the servitude to Yazid, from this way to the path of Abu Abdullah Hussein. So if you want, make the promise today that you will give everything in the way of Imam Hussein. That when the Hussein of your time calls out, and look, when Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura says, Hal min Nasirin yansuruna, this is not just for Yazid's enemy, Yazid's forces, or for the Hashimi clan, or for Ali Asghar. This is a cry that is made to extend throughout every generation, every time, every place, every race, every ethnicity, every color, every human being should say Labbaik ya Hussein. When we hear this cry, no, Hussein is calling on you. There is a famous tradition that says that those who will be sacrificed in Karbala will be few, but there will be many forces of Imam Hussein that will come in time after the Shahadat of Imam Hussein. Look, dear brothers and sisters, when we talk about Karbala, I am not in Musibah yet. Give me another 5-10 minutes, inshallah, then we'll get to Musibah. But if you want to cry, this is the night for lamentation and dua and hajat. Especially since this is the night of Babul Hawa'ij Ali Asghar. When we say Imam Hussein cried out, this was for everybody till the Yawm al-Qiyamah to join him. On Karbala, this was not just a battle. This was a divine confrontation. They say that all the Malaika came to Imam Hussein. And they said, oh Hussein, if you want, we can finish them off in seconds or milliseconds. He said no. All the jinnats came to Imam Hussein. Zafar jinn came to Imam Hussein. And they said, Hussein, if you want, we can finish them off in seconds. Imam Hussein, had he wanted, he could have, by way of mu'jiza, finished off all of Yazid's forces. There are different narrations as to how many people there were inside. Maximum 60,000 to around that. They say that Imam Hussein could have finished everybody. On the night of Ashura, Abu al-Fadl Abbas, there are many narrations as to what happened on the night of Ashura. Abu al-Fadl Abbas goes to Ali Akbar and he says, Ali Akbar, look, tomorrow is going to be a big fight. Your father is thirsty and he does not have provisions to drink and let us not bother him. Tomorrow, I will deal with half of Yazid's army, you deal with a quarter, and we will let the Ashab take care of the remaining quarter. Abu al-Fadl Abbas is saying, if he had been given the permission to have the sword to fight, he, as a servant of Mawla Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, could have finished half of Yazid's forces. If Abu al-Fadl Abbas could finish half, if Ali Akbar could finish a quarter, you think Imam Hussein couldn't have finished them off in no time? Of course he could have. But look, dear brothers and sisters, this is not just for him. This is the extent of servitude of Abdullah Hussein, that when he hears the call, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutmainnah, he stops. He stops. Therefore, when the Hussein of our times comes back, let us not be like the people of Kufa. When Muslim ibn Aqil was there, he was praying, they heard the forces of Abdullah ibn Ziyad come into the city, and they left Muslim ibn Aqil. Let us be like those people of Kufa, like Habib ibn Mudahir and Muslim ibn al-Sajjah, who left Kufa to help Hussein. And we cry for Imam Hussein with this intention, dear brothers and sisters. The first people, I'm still not in Musibah yet, inshallah. The first people to cry for Imam Hussein were the ones who came after Karbala. They called the Tawwabun, the repenters. They were not there to avenge Imam Hussein physically when they were physically alive and Karbala happened, but they came and they cried and they repented, they fought and they died. In the Hindu tradition related to Karbala, and one of the scholars I quoted in previous years, Maulana Muhammad Abbas Naqawi, he has a different take on this tradition of the Hindu state. They say that before Karbala happened, Imam al-Sajjad was somehow related to one of their kings or princes or through marriage. He wrote a letter to them saying, your in-law is being slaughtered in Karbala, come help him. The Hindus, they say, they came, but Karbala had already happened. So in India, the Hindus say, we would have come to help Hussein, you Muslims killed him. Meaning, Hindus were ready to help. John, Wahab the Christian. So why aren't we ready? These people, these individuals were not grown up with the message of Imam Hussein in their lives. Hindus, Jews, Christians, they were not ready for Imam Hussein's message. But they were not taught the message of Imam Hussein. We, as the ones who are taught the message of Imam Hussein, have to say labbaik. And that brings us to tonight. Dear brothers and sisters, it is the night of Ashura. On the night of the 9th, meaning last night, the battle of Karbala was supposed to happen in the previous day, the one that just passed time. Yet on the night of the 9th, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he says, ask them permission for one more night, so that we could worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala one more night. But this does not mean just worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala one more night. Remember, since the 7th of Muharram, all access to water for Ahl al-Bayt has been blocked. This is Imam Hussein saying, we want to be thirsty on the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for one more night. We want to worship God for one more night. He was given the permission. They say that Ahl al-Bayt, on the one side you had Yazid's forces, that they were participating in the satisfaction of their sensual desires. On the other side, you have the forces of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, partaking in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can hear takbirat, you can hear Allahu Akbar, you can hear the salat, you can hear the qiyamul layl. Remember, dear brothers and sisters, the tradition says that Lady Zainab's qiyamul layl never became qada. That means on Shabi Ashur she offered qiyamul layl. As well on Shami Ghariba she offered qiyamul layl, salatul layl, she offered them. Dear brothers and sisters, Imam Hussein on this day, on this night, he gathers all of his followers, all of his companions, and he says to them, listen, there is going to be a huge battle tomorrow. I am going to be killed. Anybody who is with me is going to be killed. Those of you who want to leave, leave. He says, nobody left. He says, if you want, I will turn off all the lights and you leave. And you can take a member of my family to escort you out. Imam Hussein turns off the light. He turns it back on, nobody is left. They say the companions came up to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and they said, oh Hussein, if we were given life 100 times and our jugular veins were severed 100 times, we would be sacrificing our lives for you 100 times. This 100 means infinite. What they are saying is, oh Hussein, if we were given an infinite number of lives and our jugular veins were cut an infinite number of times, oh Hussein, we would give our lives for you an infinite number of times. They say on this night, they say a few things, dear brothers and sisters. On this night, Abu al-Fadl Abbas, one of the companions of Imam al-Hussein, he came up to Abu al-Fadl Abbas and he said, you know Abbas, you know the reason why Imam Ali wanted to marry your mother. It was to give birth to a son that would defend Hussein in Karbala. Abu al-Fadl Abbas, when hearing this, he says, are you giving me Jalal and Jazba? Abu al-Fadl Abbas knew and he understood that he was created for the 10th of Muharram on Ashura. They say all the women and the children are getting prepared to go fight for the way of Imam al-Hussein. Every mother is preparing their children. Zainab is preparing Muhammad. Layla is preparing Ali Akbar. Farwa is preparing Qasim. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he goes to the tent of every woman to see what is happening. And he sees every woman saying, I want you to be the first to sacrifice yourself by the way of Imam Hussein. There comes a time where they say he went into the mukhayyam of Rubab, and Rubab looks at Ali Asghar, Abdullah al-Radhi. She says to him, oh son, I want to sacrifice, and I'm paraphrasing, but you are too little to sacrifice. Imam al-Hussein, in a way, he either said or he gestured that Abdullah al-Radhi will be sacrificed as well on the day of Ashura. Dear brothers and sisters, on the day of Ashura, there came a time where all the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein had become shaheed. All the ashab had become shaheed. One by one, Ahlul Bayt went to become shaheed. Ali Akbar went, all Muhammad went, the sons of Imam al-Hassan went, Qasim went, the brothers of Abu Fadl Abbas went one by one. All of the Ahlul Bayt, they start sacrificing themselves for the way of Imam Hussein. Abu Fadl Abbas was the last one from the men to be sacrificed. They say after Abu Fadl Abbas was sacrificed, Imam al-Hussein did not bring his body back to the tent. But after Imam Abu Fadl Abbas was sacrificed, Imam al-Hussein turns towards his enemies. He says, Ala hal min nasirin yansuruna. Is there anyone to help us? Is there anyone to help the Haram of Rasulullah? None of the enemies responded. But at that time, the Maqtal says, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he heard that the women and the children from his tent had started crying, from his camp had started crying. They say he went back to the tent They saw, he asked them what happened. He saw that in response to his father's call, Ali Asghar had fallen off his cradle. Dear brothers and sisters, when a child is thirsty, there comes a stage where a child who is in 3 days of thirst, his mother's milk has run dry. He cannot move. Ali Asghar was so thirsty he could not move. Yet when his father called out, he says, Father, I as a 6-month-old baby am saying labbaik to your call. The 6-month-old Ali Asghar says labbaik. Imam al-Hussein, he takes Ali Asghar, he knows what Ali Asghar wants. Ali Asghar doesn't want water, he wants shahada the way of Imam Hussein. He takes Ali Asghar, some traditions say, he covered him with his abba. When Imam al-Hussein, he left for the river to address the enemies, when they saw Imam al-Hussein was hiding something, they thought that Imam al-Hussein was bringing a Quran to do a treaty with them. They did not know that this was the talking, the walking, the human Quran in the form of Ali Asghar. Dear brothers and sisters, Imam al-Hussein came to the riverbank and he said to the enemy, if there is somebody who has done something against you, it's me. This child is innocent. Give him some water. Give him some water. They don't move. He says, if you think that I will get some water if I take him myself to the riverbank, I put him on the ground. You go take him and give him some water. They say, dear brothers and sisters, nobody moved. Imam al-Hussein had put Ali Asghar on the floor in the burning sands of Karbala. He says he took him back. He took him back and he said to him, oh son, my words are not doing anything to the enemy. You do something to awaken their hearts. They say Ali Asghar, when he heard the father's call, he turned towards his enemies and he turned towards the enemies of Allah. He took out his dry tongue. He rubbed his tongue across his dry lips. There was in Urdu, they say, there was a commotion in Yazid's forces after that. Some of them turned around. They started crying, saying that now we should give this 6-month-old baby water. When hearing this, Umar ibn Sa'ad says to Karbala, kill the words of Hussein. Kill this 6-month-old baby. Karbala, they say he had a 3-headed arrow. He took that 3-headed arrow and he tried once to hit the baby, he couldn't do it. He tried once to throw the arrow, he couldn't do it. He tried a second time. He tried a third time. This 3-headed arrow pierced the body and the neck of Ali Akbar. Somebody came after Karbala and said, oh Karbala, if we were told that you are the bravest of all of the Arabs, we would have believed it. Why did it take you 3 times to throw the arrow at the neck of Ali Asghar? He says, every time I tried to throw the arrow, I would see a mother in the background watching me throw the arrow at his son. Finally, he says, I closed my eyes and I threw the arrow. But it was a 3-headed arrow, dear brothers and sisters. One head of the spear pierced the one ear of Ali Asghar. The arrow in the middle pierced his neck. The arrow in the middle pierced his neck. And the other arrow went towards the other ear. There were 3 shahadats in Karbala in the whole battle. Dear brothers and sisters, with the one, Imam al-Hussein lost his eyesight. With the other, Imam al-Hussein's back broke. With the third, Imam al-Hussein's heart broke. With the shahadat of Ali Akbar, Imam Hussein lost his eyesight, he couldn't see anymore. With the shahadat of Muhammad Abbas, Imam Hussein says, my back has been broken. Then with the shahadat of his 6-month-old Ali Asghar, they say his heart was broken. 7 times Imam al-Hussein goes from the riverbank to the tent and back, saying, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un, lidhanbi qada'ihi wa tasliman li amrih. At the 7th time he goes to the tent, the first person to see him is not Rubab, is Sakina. Imam al-Hussein had covered Ali Asghar's neck with a chadar. They say when Sakina saw her brother was quiet. She says to him, Father, have you given my brother water? Father, I was thirsty as well. Father, I was thirsty as well. Imam Hussein removes the cloth. Rubab comes in. She sees the severed neck. She says, Amithluka yunhar? Do they slaughter a 6-month-old baby like you in this way? Do they kill a 6-month-old baby like you in this way? Imam al-Hussein, he went to the back of the tent. Some say Lady Zainab came and he said, she said, give me the body of Ali Asghar. You dig the grave of Dhul Fiqar, dear brothers and sisters. Imam al-Hussein dug the grave of Ali Asghar on the day of Ashura. This was the only grave that Imam al-Hussein made. But guess what, dear brothers and sisters? On the 11th of Muharram, when all the heads had been chopped off and put on lances, Harmala notices that there is one head that is missing. One of them, they notice that one head is missing. Rubab is somewhat satisfied that her son has been buried. They don't know, because he was buried in the back of the tent. So he took a sword, he took an arrow, he started to pierce the ground. One time he did it, nothing came out. The second time he did it, nothing came out. The third time he hit something. Out came a 6-month-old body. The mom is watching as the head of her 6-month-old baby is being severed and put on the lance.
Ya Hussein.